Of all the movies in 2018, the one that I've been looking forward to the most involved Jason Statham and a prehistoric shark. Probably says a lot about me and how I view movies.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Starring, amongst others, Jason Statham, Lee Bingbing, Rainn Wilson, Cliff Curtis, Winston Chow and Ruby Rose. Directed by John Turteltaub off of a screenplay by Eric and John Hobart and Dean Jagaris. This is my review for The Meg. The Meg is the story of Jonas, played by Jason Statham. He is a former diver and he made a decision a while back which cost some people their lives, but he did it in order to save many others. He's haunted by that past, like every good protagonist of a movie is, but he is brought back into the fray when the crew of a research station, a marine research station, discover a part of the ocean that has never been explored before and they didn't even know existed, and there are strange creatures under this ocean, including a megalodon shark, thought to be long extinct, and he has to lead the rescue in order to try and save them. So, as I say, The Meg is a movie that I was really looking forward to. I mean, it's Jason Statham versus a giant shark. Like, I don't know how the premise of a movie can be better than that, at least in a fun way, and that's what I was hoping this would be, is just a movie that didn't take itself seriously and was just a great deal of stupid, ridiculous, dumb, insane fun. That's what The Meg needed to be, and for the most part, it is. I certainly didn't come out of this disappointed, and I think it does depend on what you go into The Meg expecting to how you're going to feel about it. If you think you're going to get a movie that should be taken seriously as a whole, you're going to be disappointed. If you expect it to follow logic, if you expect it to not be silly, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go into this just thinking, I want to see Jason Statham versus a giant shark, it's going to tick a lot of boxes for you, because this has moments that I wanted to applaud just because of how audacious and how stupid they were. Including one in the final moments of the movie. And I will say that Jason Statham, disappointingly, unless I missed it and I was paying close attention to this, I don't believe he actually punches the shark in the face, which I really wanted him to. I don't think he headbutts it either, but he does something even better. So I guess in a way this did kind of exceed my expectations in certain ways. But it does a lot of what it sets out to do, which is just be fun. It's a summer blockbuster type movie. It's not one that should be given too much thought about. The science behind it and all that kind of stuff kind of gets left to the side a little bit. We don't need to see that. Audiences who I think are coming to this film for the right reason will turn up just to see carnage, just to see shark carnage. And I see a lot of comparisons in reviews where people are comparing this to Jaws. And I don't think that's overly fair because, yeah, the two of them involve a shark. This one's obviously much bigger, but Jaws was more of a character study. It was more of a character drama that had a shark in it. It wasn't a over-the-top, bombastic shark movie, whereas this is. So I don't think comparing the two is overly fair. They're completely different in almost every way. This one does have homages to Jaws and a really brilliant one to Finding Nemo at one point that I really wasn't expecting. But as I say, it's a very, very different film, and I don't think it should be put on the same kind of comparison level as that, or something like The Shallows, two movies that do take themselves seriously when it comes to sharks. But this one just ticked a lot of the boxes that I was expecting, which in a way does make it a bit formulaic. It does go in a direction that you would expect it to go, and it doesn't offer much in the way of surprises. But then there are certain films that I'll go into and I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for something that it's more of a switch-off film. You can just turn your mind off a little bit and go along for the ride that it takes you on. And yeah, The Meg does that. There's characters in here that I'm just waiting to get eaten by the shark. And they do. There's characters here that they just seem primed for that. Whether they're just a bit of a dick, whether they seem like disposable characters. The characters that you expect to go generally are the ones that will end up going. And again, I'm not saying that as a criticism of this at all, because it's what I wanted. So not every film you have to think too much about. Not every film you have to read too much into. Some films you can just go watch, hoping that you're going to get exactly what you're going to get. And yeah, The Meg did that for me. And it's so over the top at times as well, in the best possible way. There's bits where characters should die and they don't. They're saved just purely by freak luck. There's an amazing bit with Lee Bingbing and Jason Statham's characters just centimetres away from the shark's mouth. It's literally that close away from it, and they're just saved just luckily. That's, again, because of what this is, because of the kind of film it is, I can accept it. I don't think that's contrived at all. It's just fun. It's just great action. And the trailer, which I think showed a little bit too much, but the trailer where you have the beach and you have the beach full of people, that's another incredibly fun sequence. It knows the action beats that it needs to hit, and it knows the comedic beats that it needs to hit in order to be fun, in order to make the audience have a good time. And yet, The Meg does that, but that doesn't mean it's not without problems. Yeah, I do think it would have been better if it was a bit more violent. This is a watered down version. Didn't even mean to pun. But yeah, this is a very watered down version of a shark movie. There's very little in the way of blood and guts and gore. And I'm a little bit torn as to whether I think it needed that or not. I do wish, to a degree, it had gone a bit more violent. It hadn't tried to be so family friendly. I don't think it affects the overall product as much as it could do because, as I say, it seems to be focusing more on fun than it is on carnage. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what it was if this got like an R rating, if this became a bit more graphic. But we don't get that here, and there are certain moments where it almost seems like the script wants to go in that direction, where it wants to be overly violent, but it has to pull it back because of the certificate that they're going for. Perhaps my biggest problem with the Meg, though, is that there are times where it takes itself far too seriously, and it's very jarring. It's very jarring to have an emotional, sort of tender moment between two characters, and I won't spoil it, but the death of a particular character and how it affects those around them. It's hard to buy into those sort of moments when, not long before, we've seen a shark leap a boat. You know, it's two very different tones. I think it needed to stick to one. It needed to stick to, let's just be ridiculous, let's just be silly the whole way through. But it doesn't. It tries to make more of these characters than there actually needs to be. And they don't need to be much. They just need to be shark fodder. They need to be likeable, which most people in this are, to a degree. Even someone like Rainn Wilson, whose character is a bit of a douchebag in this. Like, he's a bit of a dick, but at the same time, maybe it's just because I like Rainn Wilson, but I still like the guy. I still enjoy watching him. But, so the characters in here are good and they are fun, but I don't think they needed to be quite as deep. Maybe even the wrong word, deep, but just as involved in their stories as we are with a couple of them. Because, yeah, when characters die in this, it's not the sort of film where I want to kind of hang on the scene for a little while and mourn their loss, because I'm just here to see who the shark's going to eat next. But as I say, though, the cast is good. I mean, Jason Statham is perfectly cast in this. He does exactly what I want him to do, which is be Jason Statham. And I say again about people comparing this to something like Jaws, where you have Jaws, which, as I say, was like a character movie. It was a character study. It focused on the people more than the shark. This one has Jason Statham piloting a high-tech nautical submarine while going, "It's a megalodon." He does what he needs to do in this one. He's very serviceable in the role. I mean, he's not excellent, like he's not exceptional, but he doesn't really need to be. He just needs to turn up and do his thing, and he does it absolutely brilliantly. Li Bingbing as well. I've had no familiarity with her as an actress before, but I really liked her. I've mentioned Rainn Wilson. Cliff Curtis from Fear the Walking Dead. He's, again, fine. There isn't anybody in the cast that I can really fault. I mean, maybe Ruby Rose doesn't quite convince with the role that she's got, but that doesn't mean I dislike her in it. There just doesn't seem to be much to her, which wouldn't necessarily be a problem in a movie like this. It's just there seems like with her in particular there needed to be a little bit more, because she's got the smarts, she's got the brains in this, she's heavily involved in the research, but we don't get to see that side of her too often, and that's a shame because I like Ruby Rose. But yeah, when the Meg is playing up to its premise, when it's just being fun, I absolutely loved it. It's just a shame for me that it didn't quite stick to that the whole way through. It seemed to have a few issues in working out its own identity in a way, knowing exactly what it wanted to be. Again, whether it was a more violent film, more family-friendly film, whether it was a film where we're supposed to take the characters seriously or whether it's supposed to just want to see them eaten. Like, it always seems to sort of tread this line between the two of them, and it doesn't quite nail down what it should have been from the beginning, which is just ridiculous and over the top. But it does do it on occasions, and particularly the final few moments of this film, sort of the climax of the whole thing, is one of my favourite moments I've seen in a movie this year. I'm not saying it's one of the best, but it was just like, yep, this is what I came to see. This moment right here is exactly what I came to be. So the Meg did have moments like that. It just didn't quite nail it as a whole. I'm going to give the Meg an 8 out of 10. Have you seen the Meg? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and let me know your favourite shark movie as well. I'm going to put a special mention out there for Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's gloriously stupid and has one of the best John Barrowman moments I've ever seen in a film. It's just an amazing line. If you've seen the film, you know the one I'm talking about. Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. Watch it. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, hit like and hit subscribe. It'd be great to have some more subscribers on the channel. We're going up a little bit. It's nice to see more people joining, and keep dropping comments as well in the comment section below. Enjoying chatting with everybody about movies, so keep doing it. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeJulians. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.